of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everyone. We have a roll call of the board.
Present.
Here.
Here. Here.
Here. Here, we do have a quorum tonight. We can conduct business. Next item is the approval of the agenda. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda tonight?
Yes, I have one business item A, appeal for FOIA 181-24. I'd like it to be removed. The appealer, if you will, asked to have it rescheduled. I've coordinated that with our attorneys, and we'll have it on the agenda soon.
All right, any other additions or deletions? The motion would be in order to approve the agenda as revised.
So moved.
Is there support?
Support.
Okay, support. We have a motion and we have support. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries, and I did vote aye. With that, we will open the first call to the public for agenda-related items. Is there anyone wishing to address the Township Board at the first public comment for agenda-related items? Seeing no response, we'll close the first public comment period. We'll move on to the consent agenda. You have the approval of the February 5th, 2025 regular board meeting minutes. Approval of the submitted bills list in the amount of $326,488.64. Any clarifications, questions, comments?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
Okay, we have support. We have motion and support. Discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we'll go into department head reports. Either one of the chiefs, you have anything tonight? Oh, you got bad news.
I got bad news.
Oh, you got bad news.
Engine 83, a 8-year-old Rosenbauer engine, coughed up a high-pressure fuel pump. As they were working on the high-pressure fuel pump, they discovered a fuel injector was bad. As they discovered a fuel injector was bad, they discovered a fuel line was bad. After all that was done, another fuel line was bad. $21,000 later, the truck left today and is driving around fine.
Jiminy crickets.
Yes,
I'm sorry, how old did you say it was?
8 years,
Oh, my goodness.
What's the warranty on the engine?
6.
We're just out of warranty.
It's out of warranty.
I was gonna guess 7.
It's out of, yeah, we ate a big one for this, but it's back running now, it's back in service, which is very good because we were a little low. Engine 80, which went to South Dakota for its paint warranty, is supposed to be back in the next day or two. It is on the road back here. So that is getting better, and that's really all I've got going on.
When the chief brought this to me, it's an emergency repair, authorized it, but to bring it to the board, and he can contain it within the budget. It's gonna make it tight, though.
Oh, it's very tight. I was doing the numbers.
This guy,
today.
chief's gonna squeal on this one.
We're gonna be crossing our fingers that not so much as a tire flattens between now and March 30th.
But for reference, when you got big equipment, and especially in this type of cold weather, look out. I just had a front end loader spit a hydraulic pump, and that's $50,000. And that's another one of my machines this year that, because of big repairs, I pushed off the side, and I'm not repairing them. It just, this weather's killing us.
Yeah. Thank you.
Board have any questions for the chief?
No.
No.
Okay. And I see the police chief shaking his head. He doesn't have any good news or bad.
Following that up with anything.
Okay. Sounds good.
$23,000?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you got the big equipment. That's big dollars to fix it. Okay, Michael, do you have a report tonight?
No report tonight.
Okay. I think the only thing I'm going to report on tonight, because I can't even remember what's gone on the last couple of weeks so much, but I did this morning send to the Oakwood Meadows Homeowners Association a updated cost sheet for what it's going to cost to do their roads in their subdivision. And it's pricey. The prices aren't getting any cheaper for road construction and paving. And this is, in my 25 years, I think the 5th or 6th time I have revised the numbers for them to go to their residents. And again, it's, each time I do this, it's up by several thousands of dollars. It's just the way it is. The only other thing I've got to report, we've talked about it here, about Reich's Farms, their septic system. And where we're at right now is based on the flows, the 2-year flow rates that are going into the common septic system. We are, at times, matter of fact, quite a bit of the time, we are well over the 10,000 gallons per day, which it requires a permit through Eagle, not the Livingston County Health Department. We met with Eagle last week, and also the Livingston County Health Department. And if those flow rates hold, there is a high likelihood that we are going to have to put pre-treatment in on that septic system. Pre-treatment for this septic field was about $400,000. They're probably going to require an additional tank for storage to meet the 10 state standards. You might as well add another $20,000 to $30,000. At the end of the day, it's looking like the price tag on this common septic system is going to approach $700,000. And this is to be spread over 23 homes. This is another 4 Lakes Drive right on the back of that last one. So where we're at, and Eagle understands the position, but they're not going to deviate from their rules and their requirements. But they also have the same question that all of us have, is where is all the water coming from? These are 3-bedroom and 4-bedroom homes. About half the homes, I think Debbie could clear that up, but I'll just say, for reference, half of the homes are 4-bedroom, half of them are 3-bedroom. These are on small lots, questionable ground conditions or soil conditions. We think that because of the soil conditions, there's a lot of sump pumps hooked up to the sanitary system. We also feel that there's a lot of water softener backwash going into the septic system. We also think that there is possibly some downspouts. We also think there is a lot of infiltration because we've had a lot of rain. So we have an agreement with Eagle. It's not a written agreement, but we all agree we need to gather more information. So we're meeting next week, the engineers, the operator, myself, Deb. We're going to sit down and get a roadmap. If we can demonstrate to the powers to be at Eagle now that we have a handle on the infiltration and we have a plan, and we actually can demonstrate a reduction in the infiltration or the flow rates, we may be able to get down under that 10,000 gallon peaks per day and simply replace the septic field. And maybe some other minor things. So we've got a task ahead of us. Today I talked to Ken Recker at the Livingston County Drain Commission, and Ken is going to send me a link to historical rain data that I should be able to go back over the last 2 years and pick out daily or every other day rainfall events. And I can take those rainfall events, and I'll use Tricia's term, pigeonhole them to our spreadsheet to see how that correlates with the high flow rates. There's a lot going on, and we don't have any answers, but
That's the flow rate per home at 23 homes.
yeah,
That's not that, that's double.
that's double what we normally use for an REU. The normal house uses 260 gallons a day, and this is 434 gallons per day. So there's something going on. Yeah.
It definitely takes further
Yeah, and,
investigation.
one of the things that Eagle requested, because we've done one sampling event for sodium chloride, to say that the water softeners are hooked up to it or not hooked up to it, we're gonna have to do multiple testing, and I suggested with Rick Kangas, our operator, most water softeners are backwashing at night. Everybody I know backwashes at night. You can't test during the middle of the day or in the afternoon. You got to hit it first thing in the morning or, very early in the morning before you get that flush of water out of there. So we got a lot of things going on, so that's where we're at with Wright Swamps. But I certainly don't want to see, I did the numbers, and that's, if we end up at those numbers with bond costs, we're looking at $28,000 per home.
It's crazy.
That,
How old are those homes over there?
early 80s.
Early 80s. So chances are back then, if people had their downspouts probably put in the.
We're gonna have,
Yeah,
once we gather some information, we're gonna have an informational meeting here with the residents. We are going to have to inspect, and inspect means inside the home
yeah.
also. So we're gonna meet with the residents, but they have some skin in the game, because if they don't work with us and we find a resolution, they're gonna have an assessment that's gonna hurt.
Is it not a requirement that the water softeners go into the septic system? I don't believe
It's
you can
a
just-
violation of state law, county rules and regulations, and it's a violation of township ordinance. It's also a violation of county, state, and township rules to have sump pumps going into the sanitary. So this is not, we're gonna come around and issue tickets, but it's gonna be, get it out of there. So, we got a lot of work to do. So that's the supervisor's report, and about as cheery as the chief's tonight. Okay, with that, we will go into any correspondence, Michael?
Yes, the board has distributed one letter from an anonymous unknown person concerning Dove Lake. That's why I've given it to all the board. It's my understanding that this subject is going to be coming before the planning commission and the board at a later date. Supervisor St. Charles had some history on it, if you want to add at all.
Yeah, I was contacted by one of the homeowners out there, and he is requesting a meeting with myself to discuss this proposed development on Dove Lake. I'm meeting with this gentleman about 4 o'clock. Deborah and I are meeting tomorrow night about 4 o'clock. But I will listen to what they've got to say, but if you look at the bulk of the complaints are this development goes in, it's going to create more boat traffic on the lake. And I do not read any place in the Michigan Township Enabling Act where we control the number of boats on water. And so, I mean, if that's the premise of the argument, I understand the argument, but the argument needs to go to the Department of Natural Resources, not Green Oak Township.
This reminds me of the petitions that we had before us. I don't even remember how many years ago, where all of the owners on Briggs Lake tried to get us to make it a non-motorized lake. And when we researched it, control of all the lakes is through the DNR. It's
I feel like I'm missing something when I'm reading this.
Well, there's probably a little bit more there.
12 lakefront homes were denied for protection of wetlands, which I understand, but now he's coming back with 37? It doesn't make sense.
Well, I don't know who denied it because we don't have a wetlands
I
ordinance.
know.
So it wasn't Green Oak Township that denied
Yeah, I
it.
mean, something is definitely missing from,
that particular developer, if you remember, when we granted him the permission to put those homes in on the eastern side of the lake, he also put in all those trails in the wetlands to the west of it.
Okay.
There are some wetlands to the west of what would be Kensington Road if it came all the way through, and he agreed and put in the paths there. So maybe that's what they're referring to, but I don't understand beyond that.
If you read it through, it just doesn't add up.
Yeah.
Really. It leaves you scratching your head a little bit.
They'll find out tomorrow.
Okay.
I'll find out a little bit more, but again, this got preliminary PUD approval from the planning commission. It got preliminary PUD approval here at this board. So he is in the process of doing his engineering, and will be coming back for final PUD at the planning commission, which I don't know, Deb, will that require a public hearing? No. It's already had the public hearing. Okay, so, but there will be certainly opportunity to bring any and all objections or concerns to the planning commission, and then it will come to the township board for final PUD.
Okay.
So there's plenty of opportunity. This will become part of the record.
Okay. Very confusing.
Okay, anything else, Michael?
That's it.
That's it. Okay, let's go into item 9B, approval or denial of the Costco gas station relocation and the proposed amendment to the planned unit agreement for Costco. And I'm not going to go ahead and read all the parcel numbers. Michael, this was at the planning commission, so where are we at?
It was at the planning commission. We moved it forward to the board. The board approved it as with the condition that they submit the traffic study. They've done the traffic study, and the engineers approved it, and so we moved it forward to us again, to the board again.
Okay. We do have the PUD agreement. What I just got received tonight was the the red-lined version, so you have to use this red-line version versus the version that Carol has.
Can I interrupt for just
Yep.
one question? Who provided this final document?
That one there, in my understanding, the clean one?
No, they are both from their attorney.
Both is from their attorney.
Okay, has our attorney reviewed this final clean one?
She's seen it.
She's seen it, but she reviewed
Okay,
it.
if you would come up, please. And for the record, let me know who you are.
For the record, good evening, Larry Jurczyk with Costco Real Estate. Ruben Warshawski, I'm with Meltzer Pertil and Stell in Chicago, and I'm one of the attorneys for Costco.
Okay. Larry, I'm going to say something right here, and hopefully I don't offend you, but I'm a little bit taken back that you have your attorney here. I didn't know we were having your attorney here, and guess what? I don't have our attorney here. Really, we should have our attorney here if you're going to have your attorney here.
Well, Supervisor, Ruben is here only to answer questions
Okay.
regarding the PUD amendment.
But understand, when somebody is in front of us, we have should have the opportunity, if there's going to be any legal input, we are sitting here at a disadvantage, and we should have our attorney here. I'm just going to let you know that. I'm just letting you know that.
Would you like me to sit down?
No, I'm fine right now. I'm just getting it on the record.
Okay.
Okay, please, go ahead.
Ruben, go ahead. Do I have the floor? Okay.
Yeah, you got the
So-
floor.
So Carol and I have been working on this PUD agreement. Carol's been drafting this for about 6 or 7 months. So until recently, we received her draft. We had our legal team take a look at it, and that was the red line version that you have before you. Carol responded that she had essentially agreed with those red lines, except for one item, and that was item number 4, I believe.
Item number I, section I.
Section I regarding the condition for the external traffic study.
Yep.
She felt that that should be left in the agreement, but that's been already taken care of and approved. We did not agree.
Okay.
So that was something that we wanted to talk to the board about tonight. Why would that be left in if that condition has been met?
Can I answer that for you? Here's
Absolutely.
my opinion. Because the board, at the October 16th approval, made it a condition of your approval, you just don't leave it out there hanging. So I think the PUD can recognize that that was a condition, but it can also recognize that that condition has been met. Is there a problem with that?
That would be correct.
Okay.
Okay, then
That's not what
let
they
me,
would- that's not
I
what
want
it
to
says.
cut to the chase, if I could.
Sure.
As a matter of fact, for your benefit, I'd like to give you a copy of what,
I got two. I got two.
You got two?
I got two.
okay. Here's what I am suggesting.
Thank you.
On page 2, section I, all the way down on October 16th, 2024, the Township Board approved the amendment to the PUD agreement, subject to further review by the Planning Commission. And then I wish to add, and that to conditionally approve the Costco gas station relocation for the proposed amendment to the PUD planned unit agreement for Costco, 476-05-300-074, based upon the completion of the external traffic study that was submitted for administrative, that is submitted for administrative review by Carlisle Wortman and meets their approval. That is right out of the minutes. I'd like to see that back in there, and what I'd like to see, the next sentence, the traffic study has been reviewed and approved by Carlisle Wortman.
No objection.
See that, what that does, that's that motion that was setting out there. Now, the PUD agreement says it acknowledges that was done. And that's all I think needs to be done.
Agreed.
All right.
You guys agree?
Absolutely.
Cool. That's easy to take care of. I can get that to Carol tomorrow. Okay, you got, we'll get, that's, anything else in the PUD agreement that you want to talk about?
No.
That's it.
Board members, PUD agreement, what do you think?
You had it.
I've got a problem with the traffic study.
Okay,
Carlisle Wortman study, it says over here, under trip distribution. The study does not identify any change in diverted trips from the Maltby Road. This appears to be an error based on existing turning movement volumes identified previously in the report. If there's an error there, and to be honest with you, my biggest concern is Maltby Road, this whole thing.
okay.
And so if that's not entered in there and there's an error in there, why isn't it corrected?
Well, but again, what does the motion say originally? The motion says to be approved by Carlisle Wortman, which was approved.
I guess I don't agree with Carlisle Wortman.
Okay, well, we have a quandary here.
That's my position.
Okay. Board members,
Well,
anything
I
else?
see you standing up. Did you want to speak to that at all? His concerns with the traffic study?
Yeah, does anybody want to address that?
Would you like Costco to address?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
gentlemen, if you'd like to sit down too, I mean,
Please.
Yeah, no, that's.
feel free.
Yeah. Adam is here, our traffic consultant.
Yes, Adam Bergdorf, Gilson Engineering, consultant to Costco. So the diverted trip is a type of trip that was assigned not to Maltby Road. It was assigned because that type of trip is a trip that was primarily coming to and from US 23. And so to get to Maltby Road from US 23, they would have to pass two other driveways that are more proximate to US 23. And also the assignment of the diverted trips was outlined in a methodology documentation document that was approved by Carlisle Wortman, and we utilized that same distribution within the study. And so we prepared comment responses to that and revised the study. That was not a revision because I believe that that is an error in Carlisle Wortman's assessment of what a diverted link trip is, in my professional opinion.
Okay,
Can I ask a question?
says enough.
What is, though, can you identify those two driveways? That you said just now that there are two other driveways on the way from US 23 before Maltby Road. Can you identify what those are?
Yes, there's a driveway that goes into the north side of the existing Coles development on Lee Road.
Okay.
And then there's the one on Whitmore Lake Road.
Okay.
And just south of the road.
All right.
But see, I don't understand, is that you're putting all these stations over there. that traffic, the closest exit out of Costco. I mean, customers are gonna get gas and they're gonna turn around and drive all the way down through Costco, the traffic of people walking with carts and everything else, and go to Lee Road or go to Whitmore Lake Road off the exit between the restaurants or Kohl's. I don't see that happening. And my familiarity with the whole area, okay, is that people get gas and that Maltby Road exit is used a lot. I'm familiar with it, because that's where I exit out, and it's so dangerous now to pull out over there, it's ridiculous.
I can clarify. So there are 3 types of trips that are assigned in a traffic study. One is a primary trip, one is a pass-by trip, and one is a diverted link trip. The diverted link trips were not assigned to the Maltby Road because of the proximity of the type of trip that it is. Where you divert from a roadway onto other roadways and then go into the site. A pass-by trip was assigned on Maltby Road. And also the pass-by trips, a quantity of pass-by trips were assigned to Maltby Road, as well as the primary trip component of it as well, were also assigned to Maltby Road, in accordance with the approved distribution as provided to Carlisle Wharton before the study was completed.
With respect to the traffic flows, I understand what Dan is saying.
So do I.
And I brought this up the last time we were here. When I leave Costco, and, you know, Lord knows how much money I spend every week at Costco. You know, it seems like you can't go in there without spending $300. But when I get my gas, and that's where I get my gas, I'm just like Dan. There's no way I'm gonna go out to Whitmore Lake Road and make a left on Whitmore Lake Road. And that's like asking for sudden death. So it's out south to Maltby Road. And I said it the last time, the visibility, trying to pull out of Maltby Road is horrible. I've even voiced this concern to the Livingston County Road Commission. There are trees, there are obstacles, and when you pull out there, you have to get almost into Maltby Road to have visibility either way on Maltby Road. It's easier to see from the westbound coming at you. You got a little bit of time. But I will tell you what, I have just about gotten clipped pulling out on the Maltby Road eastbound because there are some obstacles there that I don't know if you guys got control or who's got control, but there are some visibility problems there. There is not good, clear vision down there. And that is my problem. And I think that's where Dan's at. More gas pumps, more traffic. And there's, you know, I agree, the traffic study is, you know, I'm caught between a rock and a hard place. I have to tell you this. I think the traffic study is flawed, or at least in question. But the motion that was made by this board was to have the traffic study submitted to Carlisle Wortman for administrative review and approved by Carlisle Wortman, and that was done. Now, and I raised the issue then, but I didn't prevail, or maybe my message didn't get through. Administrative reviews should not be placed in the hand of just the consultant. It should have been back to the township, as most administrative reviews are done. And it wasn't done, we didn't do it here, shame on us. But we're in a quandary right now, because what was required was done. I mean, there's 2 issues here. There is the amendment to the PUD and the approval of a gas station relocation. I don't think, other than the traffic, we had a whole lot of issues with the gas station relocation. Now, let's kind of clear this up and kind of get it into segments.
There were some safety concerns, but ultimately I feel like we all agreed that the actual change was all right.
Yeah, the situation now is not working there as far as they need to expand the gas
Yeah.
station. I mean,
I think we can all agree on that. I didn't get what I wanted out of that expansion, though, to be able to take my boat and fill it up. With your revised plan, I don't see the turning radius for me to get my boat in there and make a turn. I sure won't try it now, because there's no way I can back out of there when there's 20 cars behind me. So that's a non-issue. But that's just my sarcasm tonight. But, and I agree, right now, it can get pretty difficult around there. I still think you're gonna have some problems. And I've gone to other Costco's, and I mentioned it the last time, M5 down there, and Maple and M5. That flows pretty decent. I like the way that flows. And I go to several Sam's, especially in Novi. Yeah, there's a lot of traffic back up there, and they get some congestion, but it flows good. And then people get out of there faster than they can get in there, so it actually works pretty decent. I think you're gonna have problems, but I'm still, as far as the gas station relocation, that probably makes, in my mind, sense.
I have no problem with it.
But it's the traffic concerns, and I think, am I correct with the assessment that the
I can understand them wanting to
relocation?
expand. I mean, that's, they're retailers, they want to sell more gas. That's what it boils down to. I mean, they talk about customer service, but basically the bottom line is they want to sell more gas. And I can understand that. I have no problem with that at all. It's the safety of the people leaving there.
Randy, Michael?
My objections to this project have been well stated throughout. They've said that there's not going to be any increased traffic. Of course, I don't believe that when you add that many pumps, but I guess my question to you is that what if traffic becomes a problem? What are you going to do then?
I'm sorry.
What if traffic becomes a problem? What if you get significantly more trips to your fuel station than you anticipated? What are you going to do then?
What are we going to do?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in terms of where do we
Correcting it.
exit, how do we correct it?
Yep.
Are you referring to possibly off-site improvements to road infrastructure? Or are you, I mean, we will handle what we create on the property. You have Costco's word. We are not going to design something that doesn't work. I mean, that just, the plan commission reminded me that we've been discussing for over a year now. We celebrated 1 year anniversary, so.
That's right.
Here we are tonight, and we have had our gas folks, our gas operators, we've had our warehouse operators, we have scrutinized this plan, we've looked at the exits, we've looked at the area. We are standing behind our plan. And I can be quoted on that. Costco will stand behind this plan. In terms of controlling outside, Adam did a great job with this external, and by the way, not only did your township consultant review it, but it was also reviewed by the county road commissioner and MDOT, I believe. So there were multiple people that looked at our traffic study, so.
Okay.
That is my answer.
But I think I just heard you state it for the record, that Costco will address any additional traffic concerns that are caused by the increase in traffic within your development,
We will control what's within our property,
okay?
within our property.
Within your property. I'm not asking for outside stuff, inside.
Right.
We can't.
We can't ask for anything on outside. I get it.
And that's all I can commit to, is what we do inside our property.
Yeah, that's what I'm wanting to hear, is that there's a commitment on the record that you will work to solve those problems that are created within your development.
That's correct.
Okay.
Would that include possibly signage to prevent customers leaving that, if it becomes a problem?
Yes.
Leaving that gas island, out the Maltby exit, just
Yeah.
directing them no left turn, basically?
Absolutely. Signage,
Okay.
absolutely.
All right. It's
That
on
would
the
solve,
record.
that would solve a lot of issues of no
gives-
left turn.
An alternative, something else here, that if it becomes a problem, and we start seeing that there's a problem, that what can we do? Well, we have an idea, we could limit traffic going that way, to reduce the amount of traffic going out on Mulkey Road.
Chief, if I'm correct, you can't enforce in private property a no left-hand turn, am I right?
We
What
can't,
you
they
can
can.
do, what you can
It's on
do,
record now.
what you
There's a
can,
traffic control order on it, then we can enforce it. We're very limited on private property and when it's careless driving. So depending on how that would work, that may apply into there.
what you can do is they can reconfigure their driveway to allow only a right turn exit. Are you willing to do that if it becomes a problem?
What intersection? Trustees?
Maltby, it's Clerk Sedlak, and it's Maltby and your exit,
South exit.
the south exit.
And so you're asking if.
Would
you're
you,
willing
if
to-
traffic becomes an issue, would you be willing to reconfigure the driveway, i.e. add an island to force all traffic to go to the right?
So you're exiting.
To the right, to the west?
Right.
To the west or the north?
So you're asking me to commit, I mean, we would have to take a look at the study. Or, so like, I mean, I don't believe I could agree to, that's a major site plan change, is it not? I mean, in
No.
terms of road configuration and-
No.
and allowing members to only make a right out? Is that,
Well,
so
that's-
we're talking about going westbound?
Correct.
Adam, is that what?
I believe so. I think there are probably a number of solutions that could be implemented at that location. And I think it would be recommended to take a look at that time, zero in, see what the issues are, and identify a solution that, you know, isn't just limited to a term prohibition. There might be other options on the table.
One of the things I want to avoid, and I know it because I see it, is if you limit the amount of traffic that can go south. Okay, just think it, where they're gonna go is they're gonna go west, they're gonna make a right all the way behind Costco. And right now, that's like a drag strip behind Costco. The speeds back there can be interesting at times. All the way up and past Coles and then making that sharp right over there by the small mall. So you don't want to take people from going
way.
south to Maltby, forcing them to go behind Costco, behind Coles. I think that's a disaster waiting to happen. So you got to be careful what we ask for. But there's something here that you know, Larry, you've heard me talk about the visibility and the sight distances down at Maltby and your exit there, your south exit. Would you at least consider having your traffic engineer look at that? To see what can be done to open up that visibility? You may not be able to do anything, I accept that if it's on other people's property.
Right, right.
And there's always the possibility, if you do have a site issue there, you can always work with your neighbors to try to open that up. I know, you know, that's always possible, but
They own the property frontage on Maltby to the west
I think.
of the entrance.
But I think it's the east that's a problem.
Okay.
So, there's a problem there, right?
Both these.
So those trees you referred to,
Okay.
they probably exist on off Costco's property.
There's some big trees there, but there's also some smaller brush type shrubbery to the east. You know, I know every time I get down there, it's aggravating to me to try to have to inch out there to make sure I don't get clipped from somebody coming from the east. Because they make that turn onto Maltby and the speeds pick up pretty fast.
You know, that, I don't see why we wouldn't be able to take a look at the landscaping. I mean, to open up views, that, you know, that's something Costco would be able to look at.
This is a safety issue.
Yeah,
If you commit to taking a look at that, that at least I think is a step in the right direction.
This way in front of the Costco's.
right?
It's an alternative.
If it's public right of way, the
The
county.
queuing is at the south.
Well, that's why I brought it up to the county, because there's still, some of that stuff might be in the county right-of-way. I'm not 100% sure what the width is, but, I mean, if somebody takes a look at it, I mean, it's, you know, it's in public safety.
Oh, right, right. And Costco would commit to looking at things, visibility issues within our property. You would have our commitment, again, reiterating that. We don't want to create an unsafe condition. If there is an unsafe condition, I'm not aware of, but you've made your point quite clear tonight. So we will take a look at that.
Okay, I mean, that makes me feel a little bit better about that intersection. You know, that's one of my big concerns.
I was just curious, weren't these brought up in planning commission?
Yes, they were.
And then we got all the way to this point, we can't keep living in hypotheticals. We made an
understand.
agreement here, we either keep it or we don't.
Yeah, I understand.
And I believe our bigger problem is maybe with Carlisle Wortman, maybe we need to review some of the ways they review things. If it's not to our satisfaction, that's not on them,
That's exactly what Dan said.
that's on us.
Yep, and again, and I've said it before, and I will take part of the blame. Shame on us, because that put a whole lot of burden on Carlisle Wortman and Michelle, who, in my opinion, is a great planner, okay? But that's a lot of burden to put on one particular individual, when it should have come back, and most generally, all administrative reviews, if I'm not mistaken, especially from the board, is a member from the planning commission, the planning and zoning administrator, and the township supervisor, and the planner, or whoever's doing that part of the administrative review. It's a group, and that's where I think this thing started to go the wrong direction. And again, in the future, we're going to make sure that never happens again.
Amen.
But that's a side issue, guys.
Yeah.
feel like we could bring up all kinds of hypotheticals.
I think it's really great. We got some verbal assurances, but at the end of the day, we've asked them to do something, they've done it. And we've said we will move forward after that, so I don't really see any other option.
Gentlemen?
You know my feelings.
I know your feelings. And that's one thing about this board that I think we all know is we can state our feelings, state our opinions, nothing personal, it's business. And I commend this board for us keeping that level of professionalism. So, but I think, in my opinion, I think it's time, the only couple things, if you get the approval of your gas station relocation and the amendment to the planned unit agreement, providing that we get this inserted into the document and then both parties sign it. When do you plan to go forward with your submittals and/or pre-construction conference?
So we have received, as you know, final engineering approval from Rick Miner's office.
Right.
We are ready to submit tomorrow for building permit.
You know you can't. You don't have an Act 399 permit for the water main extension.
We are aware of that.
Okay, so you can't get a pre-con meeting, and you can't get that approval and building construction until you get that 399 permit.
But we can submit drawings.
You can submit drawings. What you need to do, are you ready to submit those drawings to Eagle?
Yes.
Okay, on December 30th of 2024, you were sent a preliminary approval letter from Rich Hobgood. I won't say you, your engineers.
Okay.
They received that document, preliminary approval for the water main extension, with the packet of the 399 permit and the documentation to go to Eagle. And why I know you have not applied for the Eagle permit is because that application requires my signature.
Yes, it does. Right.
So the sooner you get that in, the sooner I can get it in, or Rich Hobgood at LCWA or O&M can get it in. So, gentlemen, you get approval tonight, you're on the clock,
We totally understand.
okay?
Yeah.
And in that letter, there was also an escrow request. So you got some things to go through before you can get a pre-con. Now, I don't know if you can get a pre-con for a building permit, but no water main construction. That's something we have to talk about.
Okay.
You know, and I don't know the answer to that until I flush it out. But certainly, I don't want to see all the construction going on out there and find out that Eagle has got a problem with your water main. I don't imagine they will, but,
Well,
you never know.
we're working with Eagle on probably a half a dozen projects right now in Michigan, Supervisor, so we understand it. Our engineers are well-versed.
Okay.
And we do know we have not made that submittal. Debbie and I talked about it earlier today.
Okay, I know you did because it came up this morning at our water authority meeting.
That's why I got.
So, yeah, that's why you
Debbie
got
called me.
notified of it.
Exactly, all right, yeah.
So, you know, we're on the ball here. So, again, you know, I just want to make sure that all the Ts are crossed and the Is are dotted on this.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yep, we would not break ground without an Eagle permit.
And
So,
as soon as you get me that permit application, I will sign it, and I will scan it in, and I will get it back to Rich Hobgood so we can enter it into Eagle. So that happens, every time I get a permit application, it goes out the same day.
that's good to know, okay. But in
Okay.
terms of construction schedule, we're looking at building this year.
Okay, well, I think, let's get the first hurdle first before we start talking all that. Unless you have anything else to add, it's back to the board?
We do not have anything further.
Okay, so we chewed it up pretty good, huh?
I think so.
Okay.
Not just tonight, for the,
Yeah, we've all chewed it up pretty good.
yeah.
Okay, it's back to the board. What's the wishes of the township board?
I don't know how to word this one.
Well, I think if you look at it, there's two suggestions. There's one suggestion that you can approve the Costco gas station relocation and the proposed amendment to the planned unit development agreement for, and then you can read all the, and should read all the tax ID numbers and on the planned unit development, subject to these changes made and agreed to here tonight. That's one way you could do it. Well, the other one is, depending on the board, the opposite side, you could deny.
Okay. I make a motion to approve the Costco gas station relocation and the proposed amendment to the planned unit agreement for Costco, parcel 471605300074, 471605300076, and 471605300040. And with that amendment, including the language taken from the October 16th, 2024 minutes of the Township Board meeting.
And I would take it from the board meeting and the wording regarding the traffic study as supplied at the board meeting and agreed to by Costco team here tonight.
So moved.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion, and we have support. Discussion on the motion. Okay, hearing none, roll call, please.
Lacey Andrews,
Yes.
Randy Pitts,
Yes.
Amy Randall,
No.
James Huddle,
Yes.
Michael Butler,
Being consistent, no.
Mark Mizar.
Yes, motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen. All I can say, Larry, hopefully you've heard us
We have.
and you understand our concern about traffic. I think it's well documented in the minutes. And I hope you understand, we're not being adversarial. We are concerned about the health, safety, and welfare, not just our residents, but your customers. That our residents of Green Oak and non-residents of Green Oak. That's our number one concern.
Totally understand.
Okay,
All right, thank you for your time tonight.
thank you, and I'll look for that 399 permit.
Yes. Thank
Okay.
you. All right.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Okay, with that, Michael, do you want to take a breather, or you want to go right into the Compensation Commission recommendation?
We can go right into it so that we can get home at a reasonable hour. The Compensation Commission was, if you recall, we go through the Compensation Commission every 2 years, and they make recommendations every 2 years, and this has been happening since 2012, when they were formed and made their first recommendation in 13, and they have done so every 2 years since then. There was a time when one of our trustees was on the Compensation Commission and recommended some other members until he ran for office. This year, I did a little something different as far as what I gave the board. I gave the board the exact same packet that I gave the Compensation Commission, along with all the comparative studies, the information necessary for them to make their decisions, and then included their letter of recommendation. And I'm here to, I will say that the new members that we have on the commission, this was the most thorough Compensation Commission that I've been through. They asked a lot of questions prior to their meeting, and they kept me there for an hour and a half answering questions after they started about facts, figures, everything through questions on supervisor, treasurer, clerk, trustees. This is the first time that they asked a lot of questions about per diems and everything of that nature, and you have before you their recommendations. We had 2 new members this time that we didn't have last time. And one member, Gail French, she has been on all the building committees, all the way back to this Township Hall and before, so she's watched that very carefully. And then former board member, Katie Anderson, is also on it as well, now that she's not associated with the township in any way other than a citizen, so that's it.
Well, and what I can say is I've known and worked with Gail French for a long time, and I do know that Gail is, has, attention for detail. Very, orientated in getting the facts right, getting all the facts, and her attention to detail, that's what I was trying to state, is phenomenal. So,
Ken.
Well, I'm a good friend of Ken Dickinson's, and, his past work at Ford Motor Company was in labor negotiations. So.
Oh, yeah, they really
so when
pinned me
he-
on that.
So when he gets into that, he knows exactly where he's going, and I just like to shout out to him. I just appreciate him coming in every 2 years, and he's one of the sharpest minds. I walk with him every morning during the summer, and I just listen when he's talking. It's hard for me to keep my mouth shut.
One thing about the Compensation Commission that we have, their makeup, whatever their outcome is fine, because I know either way that it goes, that they considered all the facts, considered area comparables, they've looked at inflation, they've looked at everything, and one thing I can say, they've left no rock unturned.
Ken really pinned my ears back this time on labor negotiations, length of contracts, how much they were for, and everything of that nature. That's the first time I've ever been asked that, so it was pretty interesting.
So as it stands right now, we do nothing, and the commission recommendations stand.
Yeah, it's always best to have a motion to accept it.
Okay?
To deny it, however, requires a supermajority. In tonight's condition, that would be a 4-2, or in a full board, it would be a 5-2.
Okay.
So,
So if the board is in agreement, the motion to.
simple motion to accept.
Simple motion to accept would be in order.
So moved.
I'll support it.
Okay, you have support?
Yes.
Discussion on the motion?
Yes.
Yes.
I don't disagree with anything that was said up here. I completely agree. Where I'm struggling with this is we had an election in November, and the very next night we sat before our voters and told them the millage didn't pass. We were in dire straits, and we were gonna have to make cuts, so to be honest with you, this does not sit well with me. I think you're deserving. Everybody works very hard, including myself, and sometimes it's a very thankless job. I just feel that it feels wrong right now for me. But that's as far as I'm concerned with my position here. I would not feel right after telling them that we were going to make cuts to things that, we don't provide that much. And that's where I'm battling it with myself.
I do have a struggle, I will tell you. And I am concerned, I agree with you. And our new budget shows we've axed out large item cleanup day, we've skinnied our budgets down. We have cut out Spark EDC, or EDC Spark. So this is something that in my belly bothers me. I understand it, I will go along with whatever's decided, but I do have, I just have some heartburn, because I do see, in my opinion, and I hope to God I'm wrong, but I do see a recession coming. That's my 2 cents, and as I said before, one thing about this board, we all can have our opinions, and it's not personal.
The motion's been made.
Huh?
The motion's been made.
Yep. So, no further discussion. Kelly, can we have a roll call, please?
Gene Stucco,
No.
Dan Renfro,
Yes.
Tracy Edwards,
No.
Randy Britt,
No.
and Michael Bubble,
Yes.
Mark Nazar.
No. Motion does not pass.
The end result of this is that there'll be no increases for the next 2 years for the board.
Okay. It is what it is. I think the message there is a message that will get out. Okay, discussion items, any needed? Hearing none, committee reports? Here are no reports, executive session, none is needed. At this time, we'll go to the last call of the public. Is there anyone wishing to address the Township Board at the last call of the public? Seeing no request, we will close the call to the public, and at this time, we stand adjourned.